and welcome to the Sunday show. I'm Kohinoor. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Our first guest is Hashu, also known as SMASHBengali. He's a YouTube content creator. I think his aim is just to make people laugh, because genuinely I've watched a lot of his YouTube videos and I'm in stitches. I actually sent a link to my mother today to watch. She was asking me, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm going to be speaking to Hashu." And she was like, "Oh, who is he?" So I sent her a few links and she came back to me and she said he is very, very funny. So anyway, Hashu, hello and good afternoon. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum, Kohinoor.
I'm doing really, really well.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Big shout out to Channel S.
Well, thank you for joining me. Hashu, to be honest, I yesterday, obviously, we spoke briefly, but you spend your time, I guess all you do is make people laugh. I mean, genuinely laugh from the pit of my stomach watching your videos. It's incredible.
Honestly, you're too kind. It's just such a blessing to be able to share good energy and to make people smile, man.
How long have you been doing this for, Hashu?
So I've basically started my journey as a content creator just over 3.5 years ago now. But I basically went full time with it just over a year ago.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah. So a lot of graft.
A lot of graft.
I imagine.
Yeah, but a fun graft. That's the thing that counts. I think it's important to just listen to your organic energy as a human being and try and pick something that you just really, really enjoy doing. Like even with you right now presenting, there's something, an innate trait within you that made you want to do this. And I just think we all in the Bengali community need to do more to listen to that voice inside of our heads to choose things that we really enjoy.
You're absolutely right, and it's so important to do that. Listen, before I really want to get into a good convo with you, but before we do that, I just want the viewers to have a look at some of the things that you've done, okay?
আমার একটা সাদা বেটি আইতাছিন মুখে দি রাইত পারে কিছু খুম্বলে এই খালি ফোনের মাঝে মাত্র আমার খোদাও না এক মিনিট বেটি কি হইছে মারা রে আমার খোদাও না তোরে 3 তালাক দালাইতাম নি হ্যাঁ ও কি দেখো আসলাম বেটি এক তালাক কি দেখো রাইবো 2 তালাক কি দেখো এক মিনিট বেটি আমার টাকা দিয়ে আমার পরে না চুকের পলক দূর বেটি টয়লেটের মাঝে হ্যাঁ এক মিনিট এক তালাক আমি আবার কই দিকে দেখো না 2 তালাক Understand? You better understand? Hey, hale marwa. Aske baat ke tadi khaitam beti. Aske ami bagalayছিলাম. Hey, toro dobro shao. Tore 3 talak dalaitam ni. Ek talak. Hey, kida korre beti? Murshidara beti 3 talak dita paroi na. Murshidar hujur, ami Skype-er maze rakhছি. Kida? Assalamu alaikum bhai sahab. 2 talak. Duro beti 2 জানুস না 3 talak কইলে কি তো?
My name's Ahmed Patel, and I'm here from Ahmed Patel Solicitors. Have you recently had a divorce? Need to get your wife off your back, my friend? Oh, don't worry. Just sign here and I'll take care of the full court proceedings.
It's absolutely hilarious.
Thank you.
Honestly.
I don't even know what to say. Like sometimes I create content and I'm just like, I don't even know where it comes from in my brain, but it's just organic, man. Like it's just random thoughts that come to me. And then I try to pick topics that I feel are a little bit taboo and need to be spoken about. So like the Tintalak thing, for example, like it's something that's very serious within the Bengali community. Like so often do we see, husbands using this as a way of emotionally blackmailing women. So I wanted to basically showcase that in a way and flip the coin where I give the power to the women and be like, look, like, my sisters, have you forgotten? Like, you also have the ability, so don't let anyone emotionally blackmail you.
And that's what's really interesting about what you do, because I do feel some of the things that you actually create, there is a meaning behind it, and you are highlighting things that are quite taboo in our community, and you actually make fun of it in a way that people step back and actually think, oh, what does this actually mean? So I think it's very clever, and actually it's very important what you're doing and bringing it to the forefront to our community.
I feel like, it's important for comedians to be funny, but if you can be funny with meaning, then it just gives a whole new amount of value to your work. And because at the end of the day, although I'm a content creator, like, I'm a Muslim first and foremost, and I feel like what I want to be able to do is have an impact with the work that I'm doing.
So you obviously talked about you started a few years ago and you went full-time only recently. But have you always been funny? Have you always been the funny guy?
I don't know about funny, but I would definitely say, like, I've always had a very, like, vivid imagination. Like, so for example, like, when I was growing up and I was in primary school, I would never be like playing football or, in the library or anything like that. I would always be with this one group of friends, and we'd be making up like characters and playing like different characters. And then when I was in year 6, at the end of year 6, actually, we went to Bangladesh and we stayed for 13 months.
Wow.
So I missed out the whole of year 7. And when I was in Bangladesh, obviously, like, you have like one channel, and like, so I literally couldn't watch any TV. So what I ended up starting to do was I had like a notebook, and I started to create like cartoons and scenarios, and I used to make like little comic books, and then that's where I kind of developed this huge like imagination, like, when I was a child. So but yeah, I guess like the funniness just comes with imagination.
You mentioned comic books. Do you still do any of that?
So I really want to develop some, well, not just even comic books. I want to start developing like animation, because I feel like Silati animation is something that hasn't been done, and it's something that really needs to be done, because with animation, it opens up so much more in terms of your ability to showcase particular things. Like cartoons can do it really, really well. So it's something that I'm trying to work on, and another skill that I'm trying to develop.
So it sounds like you've always been creative, like in regards to what you've been doing. Those comics that you were doing before, what were they about? Was it a superhero or?
Oh, like, it's so embarrassing, but basically I had like a Bangla tutor, and he basically used to own a school, like a Biddaloy, literally like next door to us. And because he owned this school, like, anytime he used to private tuition us, but I used to go in the daytime to just see him sometimes. And like, low-key, he always used to be talking to like the female teachers all the time, like all of them. So I used to create comic books about him, like, being like the Saif Ali Khan, like the hero, like in this school, like the Bangla Mashto hero type thing. And just
did
creating those
he
crazy
know
scenarios.
that you were doing this?
Sorry?
Did your teacher know that you'd done this?
No, only my parents and like my family. But my family and my parents used to find it hilarious, because they used to know how much of a bodro look he is. Like, he was such a good like teacher. So it was just like hilarious.
Oh my gosh! Can you imagine if he's watching? You've just exposed him.
Hi, teacher. Here's my story about you.
No, the other thing I've enjoyed is some of the prank stuff that you've been doing. So how did that come about?
So basically, like, with the sketch comedy where I'm playing like these different characters, what I found was they're really, really fun to play, but people weren't able to see like my character, in a sense, like who I am as a person. And the prank calls really allowed me to strip away the characters and show people how I am on the spot, and kind of take away the whole character element and just show me.
Okay.
But also what I really loved about them was it shows, because a lot of the submissions that I get are people's parents, and it's that first generation of migrants, our uncles, our aunties. And sometimes there's this a bit of a barrier between our generation and theirs. So prank calls really allowed me to break that barrier and show people like, look, you can have banter with this generation and, you know, they've got a sense of humor. Like, just break down that barrier and just try and speak to them.
Well, let's show the viewers an example of one of your prank calls, okay?
জি গুড ইভিনিং ভাই সাহেব আমি কি রেহান মিয়ার সঙ্গে কথা বলতেছি জি আমার নাম হচ্ছে মাহমুদ মিয়া আই এম কলিং টু ইউ ফ্রম বিমান এয়ারলাইন্স হাউ আর ইউ ডুইং মাই ব্রাদার
Yeah, I'm good. How can I help?
Basically, brother, you recently flew with us in April. Is this correct?
Yes, I did, yeah.
Yes, and brother, the problem is we have received a complaint from the air hostess on the flight. And also, আমাদের রেকর্ডের মধ্যে ভাই আপনি আমাদের একজন প্যাসেঞ্জারের সঙ্গে বদ ব্যবহার করেছেন এর জন্য we have to speak to you.
No, I'm feeling about what?
I have them on the line. They have been quiet all this time. Brother, your name is?
Yeah, my name is Mia.
Brother, please can you explain your issue with the person on the flight?
এখানে বহুত নয়েজ মানাইছেন বুঝছেন আমার গলাত বয়া বয়া আর খালি নয়েজ মানাইতো বুঝছেন আমি আমার ফ্লাইট এনজয় করতাম পারতি না বুঝছেন গুবুম লাগছে না আপনি খালি মারতে মারতে পড়াইলেই তো বুঝছেন ফ্লাইটের ভাই সাহেব এটা বহুত ক্ষতি হয়েছে আবার আপনার গালার দিনে বইলা আমার দুধ মিয়া বুঝছেন আমার দিনে মনে রয়েছেন না আমার গালার দিনে বইলা আপনি আর এগুলা কান দিনে আপনি আমার ট্রিট করলে তো রাইট আছেন না ভাই
আপনার লোকে কে মারছে ভাই আমি কোথায় গেছি
Okay, brother, please, dude, bhai. Brother, please be silent, or I will have to escalate for both of you to the police. I do not want to do this. I want to control this in Biman Airlines office.
এক কথা দিকাতে পারতাম আমি এক কথা আমি দিকাতাম চাই
Please, dude, Mia, go ahead.
বাত খরচ লাগিয়ে দিন
জি
বাত খরচ লাগিয়ে দিই ও তো গন্ধ গাত আছে
জি
ও তো গন্ধ তোমার গাতরে বাড়াইছে দিনে আমি তো ট্যাক্সি শাশুড় ফালাইতাম পারতি না
Poor guy.
It was like literally big shout out to my brother drama setters. He was the other brother that was next to me.
Yeah.
We collaborate together. He's also a Bengali YouTuber, and yeah, like when me and him come together, like some people are getting terrorized. That's all I'm saying.
Can I just ask, after you do this, do you actually let the caller know that this was all a joke?
Yeah, always has to be done. Even if it means like, you know, hearing a couple of guys from them and being told off, like it's still like, you know, all part of creating content. And you know, sometimes it's also like a way of educating others. Like sometimes I've gotten into some really deep conversations with like 50-year-old uncles and stuff like that about like comedy in general and what we're doing and stuff like that. And alhamdulillah, like all the time, it's always about just, you know, educating others and getting them to understand what we do. And this is the next generation. And this is what, you know, works in terms of content. So, yeah, but it always has to be revealed.
Has it ever gone wrong? Has a prank ever gone wrong?
Literally, wallahi, last week, my brother Drama Setters came down again here, and we prank called this brother, and he's basically a removal company. And I basically pretended to be a Bengali auntie, and I was like, please, like as the removal company. And then he basically called the police on us, and then we had the police call us, and then we had to explain to the police, look, we're just content creators. This number was submitted to us and stuff like that. But yeah, it's gone wrong a lot of times.
Oh my goodness. And just in general, obviously you make it look very easy, right? You make it look, all you do is get a camera, you're in front of the camera and that's it. I mean, you do make it look easy and fun. But in reality, how long does a sketch take for you to create and then show everyone?
Yeah, so for one of the sketch videos, which usually contains anything between 4 to 5 sketches, takes 2 weeks. It takes 14 days. That includes planning, the writing stages, then pre-filming, pre-shoot, and then editing and everything like that, and creating the promotional clips for Instagram. And then with the prank calls, although they seem like, you know, very easy to do, it's almost like sometimes working in a call center, like there's been times where we've been like calling people all day and we haven't got something that's solid and we're like, oh yeah, this one's going to do really well. Like, you know, sometimes it's a case of us going through like 10, 15 calls and then, there's nothing out of it. And then sometimes, we have a day where we've been filming for a couple hours and then we've ended up with a bunch. So it takes a little bit of luck and quite a lot of hard work.
And how do you keep up to date? How do you create something that is new and exciting and is different? Because I imagine, the amount that you're doing, do you run out of ideas? How do you keep yourself inspired?
Yeah, so I think it comes back down to your ability as an artist to firstly take criticism and secondly, internally explore your skills as an artist. So for example, one thing about the prank calls, it requires a lot of improv. Improv is literally your ability to think about comedy on the spot. So you have to basically explore these skills and try and figure out how can I take this one skill and apply it in a new way. The same way a musician, for example, can use their voice to sing in so many different genres. How can I, as a comedian, apply this ability to improvise comedy into different areas? So the way I keep it fresh is literally thinking of new kind of ways of creating brands of shows. So I have the sketch comedy, the prank calls, and then I started street interviews last year, which was a way for me to go out in public and for people to even break that barrier even more down and people to see how I interact with people face to face on a human level. Yeah. And it's just about exploring new ideas and thinking in a new way of applying it.
Let's have a look at an example of a street interview.
আপনারে একটা কঠিন প্রশ্ন জিগাই ভাই আপনি মাইন্ড করবা না তে চিজ স্যান্ডউইচের মাঝে তারা ভিতরে দিয়ে কিতা দেয়
চিজ স্যান্ডউইচের ভিতরে চিজও দেয় আর মাঝে মধ্যে কোনো সময় স্যান্ডউইচের ভিতরে চিকেনও দেয় এরপরে কিমাও দেয় মাঝে মধ্যে আর কি আমরা এখন লাগান মানে ফিশও দেয় বুঝছেন নি
ঠিক হয়েছে আর চিকেন সমোসার ভিতরে তারা কিতা দেয়
চিকেন সমোসা তো চিকেন দেয় ভিতরে চিকেনও দেয় কোনো সময় লাম সমোসা চাই যে লাম সমোসাও দেয়
লাম দিলে তো লাম সমোসা হয়ে যায় না আমি চিকেন সমোসার কথা
আচ্ছা চিকেন সমোসা দেয় চিকেন সমোসার মাঝে 2-3টা আছে একটা ভেজিটেবল সমোসা আছে একটা চিকেন সমোসা আছে আর একটা হলো মিট সমোসা আছে
ভাই আপনি তো ফিক ফালাইছেন
আমি ফালাইছি না রে ভাই আরো কেউ ফালাইছে
হ্যাঁ
ও মুহিন ভাই মনে হয় খাইছলা তাইন ফালাইছে
মুহিন ভাই আপনি গোয়া ফালাইছেন
হ্যাঁ 100 পন ফাইন দিব তাইন ফিক ফালাইছে
100 পন ফাইন
আর গত হপ্তা দিছে তো একজনে বিড়ি খাইয়া ফালাইছলা তানরে দিছে 75 পাউন্ড ফাইন
জি
বিড়ির কম্বল ফালাইছলা তাইন খাইয়া বিড়ি খাইয়া
75 পাউন্ড বিড়ির কিতা ফালাইছেন ভাই
বিড়ির কম্বল ফালাইছলা তাই বিড়ির ও গুলা কি কোন জেনে বাংলায়
মানে ফিল্টার
ফিল্টার
আপনি কম্বল রাখো
বাঙালি মানুষে কই নাকি বিড়ির কম্বল ফালাইও না রাস্তা
আমরা দর্শকরে গোষ্ঠী ডাকি আপনি কোন মেসেজ দিতে চাইবা আমরা ইউথ রে মানে বালা মেসেজটা আপনি কইলাও কা সুন্দর কইয়া
আমার একটু মেসেজ থাকবো যে আপনারা এই কমিউনিটি লাগি আপনারা কষ্ট করুক হাঁটুক আমরা আর যাহাতে আমরা হাত ছাড়া না হয় আমরা বাচ্চাই আমরা একটা ফুরিয়ে যদি একটা ফুয়ার লগে বাদ করে বা ফুয়ায় বাদ করে নাইফ ক্রাইমর মাইর দৈরর ইটা থাকি আমরা পালা ফতে তারা লিয়ে ইটা আমরা ওটা কিছু জিনিস আপনারা কমিউনিটি লাগে করতা
ইনশাআল্লাহ
ও আশা রাখলাম
ইনশাআল্লাহ থ্যাংক ইউ সো মাচ ভাইয়া
থ্যাংক ইউ
ওমালান্দা লগা ব্যাং থ্যাংক ইউ সো
That was lovely. So do you genuinely just go out into the streets and just walk up to people?
Literally, and I just literally stick a microphone in the mouth. I'm like, "Bhai sahab, apna interview korta parbo ni." And then they always, the mad thing is, they always think I'm from Channel S.
Really?
They think I'm from Channel S, and I'm like, no, I'm not from Channel S. I'm from a YouTube channel, but I just have to kind of sell it to them a little bit more. But alhamdulillah, it's literally just going to particular areas and just finding people that want to share their story and have a bit of fun while I interview them.
Well, you've done a lot of good work as well in the community, in that you do a lot of charity work as well, and I think it's great. You make your viewers feel like they're your family, right? You call them
Yeah,
Gushti.
100%. That's what I call them, my Gushti gang. And big shout out to everyone that has come over today to support me by watching as well. Huge love to the Gushti. But yeah, it's crazy. And I really like using new ways to kind of interact and build this community. Like one thing what that I didn't even do, but someone from my community, it's this sister called Naz. She basically set up a Discord. And I don't know if you know about Discord, but it's this really cool way to create a community hub where people can talk to each other. They can share like videos, memes, all this kind of stuff. And it's this really, really cool community on Discord where it's people from my fan base that have come together and they all talk to each other. They remind each other when it's time to pray. And it's just incredible, like what you can do with technology at the moment as well. So I'm just super grateful for everyone that supports me, including you guys that have invited me on today. And it's just honestly, like, it means so much to me.
I know, I think it's wonderful. Before we go, Hashu, those who are at home at the moment and they want to create content or they want to take a creative route and not entirely sure what it takes to get to, say, for example, where you are at the moment, what advice would you give them?
I would say listen to your organic thought. What does your soul cry for? And what does your mind actually want to do in terms of creativity? Because there's so much in terms of a breadth of skills that you can hone in terms of creativity. But try and find the one that is most organic to you. Because if you're going to be doing it, then it needs to be easy, because there's a lot of hard work when it comes to the nitty-gritty, like editing, you know, making things happen in terms of filming and all that kind of stuff. But also don't play into, I think the whole thing with social media at the moment is there's this huge emphasis on people to look good. And like, you guys can tell, like, I didn't even cut my beard today. Like, I don't care about my appearance too much, but it's like, don't try and be eye candy, but try and be soul food and try and help communities and have an impact, because ultimately that is what's going to be, that's what you're going to be able to take to your grave. So just try your best to be an amazing human being and try your best to be creative.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's about being authentic and really listening to that voice inside you and following your passion. So listen, Hashu, thank you so much. You are an inspiration to everyone in the community. Keep entertaining us, keep teaching us, and I wish you all the best.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much, Kohinoor. And one last thing, Amma, I made it.